Yo, no maniacs. We are right back at you once again with Nomad Live, all bears all the time, in conjunction with Sports Zone Chicago with this super back. Sean Sierra and my trustees with me. The Canuck, the super producer Chris is here with us today, and my guy Keith Harris Sr. Hey, you all heard the damn news, man. Jaylon just got his bag. And these guys will correct me if I'm wrong on these numbers. Am I mistaken when I heard 4 years, $76 million? Or is it sounding kind of ambiguous?
76. No, you're right.
Kid, you're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just nodding back here. You got it nailed. You got it locked down, man. 76 million, 4 years. Sounds a lot like what we've been talking about, though.
So basically, now Keith bit at me a little bit when I said this behind the scenes. I said it could be possibly a sign and trade. We probably likely not, but all options are on the table now about what they can and can't do. I love it for Jaylon. I think it sends the absolute perfect message to the locker room and the people that are willing to come to Chicago, the free agent market, everything. It's a positive sign, and I could see the timing that Ryan Poles must have had in his head about when to get this deal done. Is this not the right timing to get this done right at the beginning of free agency next week? Do you think this is perfect for us, kids?
Yes, this is what they should have done a couple of days before putting the tag on them, really, if they had the time to do it. But I guess the reality is there's so many things in flux at the same time, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts. It took a little bit more time for them to square things away this time around. But I'm glad they got it squared away. And I think, like I'm saying, I think it was all hinged on longevity. He's going to want to hit the market again in 4 years and get that bag before he's 32, which puts him at that 28. We've been looking at those numbers. We were looking at those numbers earlier today, age range, etc. Once you get to 28 at that position, things start to trend a little bit in the opposite direction. So this gives him an opportunity to go and get a bag one more time. At 5 years, you're looking at in and around 92.5 to 95K or 95 million. I think this is actually a very beneficial and team-friendly deal for all sides. I like it. It works for me. What about you, Chris?
Hold on, before Chris, you go. Before you go, Smitty said in the chat it's front loaded with 54 million guaranteed. Is that right?
Yeah,
54.4.
Yeah, that's nice, real nice. He said he'd set him up for life, and he did that. Go ahead, Chris. My bad.
It's timing. Again, Mr. Poles has done what he said he would do. He's taking care of the player. It's going to send positive shockwaves throughout the locker room. And, a few months back, I was kind of on the other side of the fence about signing JJ, but you got to. The guy bet on himself, and it has now paid off for him. And I think we got the best secondary, at least the best corner room in the league. So hats off to Ryan Poles and JJ, and let's keep building this thing.
Well, I second with both of you guys, man. And what it really does, it gives that extra vote of confidence with regard to in that locker room. This is the second guy now that Poles inherited that he has extended. So with that being said, there's only a couple more guys that's currently on the roster that, are still here from that, the first regime. So I'm happy for Jaylon and his family, especially, he's a dad with a daughter, and he's been saying that he wanted to be able to make sure that he can secure her future along with his own. So I'm really happy. I'm happy for Poles, also showing that he's a man of his word. He said, he stated, as Sean has repeated as well, that he said that Jaylon Johnson was going nowhere. So he keeps him in the building, keeps him in that locker room, helps solidify that defensive backfield, man. Hats off to Poles, but big hats off to Jaylon Johnson, baby. You bet on yourself, you made it rain, and now you can go ahead, take vacation, man. Go sit on the island, man, somewhere, and stick your toes in some sand, man, and have a little fruity drink.
Hey, pause. You know what? What did we say when we talked about it the other day? Like, don't even trip. Don't even trip.
Masturbates himself? Was that what we were talking about the other day?
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry.
Pause.
Different topic.
Yeah.
We said don't trip, man. It's gonna happen. All he did was buy time. We just went in overtime. I said all my soccer fans went into extra time. I went into OT, went into, you know what I mean? That's all it was. He had until July to get a deal done, and he didn't waste any time. And remember, we said it was probably just a couple of things. You mentioned the key to some verbiage, some, you know, who knows? All right, so they didn't get it done at 3:00 yesterday. They got it done at 3:00 today. So you know what? Listen, let that man cook. All right, that just sent shockwaves through that locker room. Okay,
Yeah,
because of the fact that he's not his guy. Jaylon's not his guy. He didn't draft Jaylon. Okay, but he gave him money. Okay, he didn't draft Cole, but he gave him money. So now these guys are like, oh snap, this dude is paying us for performance. So whether you're not his guy, or especially if you are his guy, he set the precedent last year, and then again this year. He's consistent. You play well, I pay well, and this is why people are going to want to come to the Bears as free agents. This is why people are going to want to come to the Bears when or want to get drafted by the Bears. This is why undrafted free agents are going to want to come and try out for the Bears or sign with the Bears, because if you perform, he will pay. Now that secondary, we got 4/5 of that secondary returning intact. I feel really, really good. I'm a little fired up right now. I'm fired to freak up right now.
Hey,
yeah,
Kid, can you grab the chat for me?
yeah. I got you.
Look, because I remember last year and Flus, them asking Flus a bunch of, you know, what's up with Jaylon Johnson? What does he need to do to improve to get, you know, a contract or a contract extension, however they worded that. I remember them asking him personally, and I remember him standing up at the podium talking about what Jaylon would need to do. And I remember a while back we were having a show, probably about 6-7 months ago, and we were talking about has Jaylon Johnson hit his ceiling, and most of the people on the panel were kind of against me when I said, no, man, he's got a lot of upside. Why? It's because with Vic, he tacked up and played a whole lot of man-to-man. And, you know, in this system, he's going to get his chance to get his eyes on the quarterback and eyes on the ball and opportunities to react to it. And, you know, I think with that being a corner myself, I know what a difference it makes from being with your back turned to the ball and running with receivers tacked up and man-to-man versus space and time, right? And that's what zones are, space and time, you know, basically having to, you know, kind of maneuver in a landmark space and being effective in it. And I knew that once he got that down and once he got comfortable in playing in zones and zone concepts, he'd be able to see that ball and react better. He probably, I don't know how many picks he had, but he probably had 3 or 4 more if his hands were a little bit better. But, you know, it's just, man, his upside is tremendous in his own concept, man. He could, he can get Stephon Diggs types of numbers, you know, especially if we bring on another pass rusher. I also believe that he probably should write Montez Sweat a check of some kind for some kind of dollar amount, because that contributed to some of the turnovers he was able to generate, and in turn, you know, kind of trend up his market value. So the fact that he was able to get his hands on balls, take balls away, run one back for 6, Montez Sweat played a role in that. And so I would just, what'd you say, Sean?
3 back. He had three picks. One, he should have had 2 back. Remember the one he dropped in with the Lions? He had 3 picks. He should have ran 2 back.
Yeah,
4 picks and 2 back. He actually dropped a couple of picks. And yes, he should give him a little, I don't want to say finder's fee, but a pressure fee. He should give the Sweat.
Yeah, go ahead, fellas.
yeah. Geez, I'm not paying Montez Sweat another $1. I think we paid him quite enough.
We're talking about Jaylon. We ain't talking
I'm not
about
talking about the Bears.
I know what you're saying. I'm just playing. In any event, I'm putting more money into the other side, into that other corner, so we get even more pressure and create more picks with a super solid secondary. Probably one again, like Chris said, maybe the leading secondary in the game right now. That's huge. So I'm so stoked. I'm glad Sean and Keith kind of touched on the locker dynamic because that's big, guys. Right now we're sitting in a situation where we're worried whether there's going to, whether Justin's going to be the guy or not. Like, and I'm saying this as if I'm in that locker room right now, right? Like if I'm in the locker room, like who's the leader of my team? Because Montez just got here. It's either Jaylon really on defense. He's the one guy who's got a little bit of longevity and has been in this locker room for quite some time. So maybe it's Jaylon snap. He might be gone. Who's it on offense? It's got to be Justin. Can't be anybody else. Maybe DJ. And if we don't have a quarterback, who's the quarterback? So like so many questions in that locker room right now for the guys who are going to show up there in a couple of weeks. So at least this question mark has been answered. You know what I mean? Jaylon's coming back. He's getting the bag, and hopefully he can lead that secondary into good places this season.
Hey,
He's very good at it with his positioning in a cover two. I used to teach my guys the same thing. Is if you just show short, show flats, okay. But because then you're Nomad, you could back me up when you're a D, especially in cover two. You don't even look at your guy. You read two to play one. You read number two. He's going to tell you what your guy's going to do, what your outside guy's going to do. That's what you do. You don't look at your guy. You just, what's this guy doing? All right. So when you see him going behind you, because that's a soft spot in the cover two, and if you notice on all his picks, his hips turn, so he's perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, but he stays short. So once that ball, boom, he can just literally just go back and all. If you've seen all, he's never there. He's always got to jump, which is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It means he's just far enough in the flat, okay? Because they'll usually send someone to the flat to occupy him, but he sees number two going right behind him in front of the safety, so he stays just close enough so you think I can't get there, and it turns and runs on that ball because you usually got to drop it in the bucket. And man, he's done a phenomenal job. And you know who else did a phenomenal job at the end of the year? Tyreek Stevenson doing the same stuff.
Yep.
And when I interviewed him, he joked about it, but he wasn't playing. He was like, yeah, he goes, I watched a couple, and he had that pick, remember, toward the end of the year. And I asked him, and he was like, oh yeah, he goes, I've been watching, I put on some JJ film and stuff. Not really. I'm like, yeah, you've been watching JJ, you've been watching your boy. So now we're going to get a rookie who's a second team all rookie playing that same style on the other side of Jaylon Johnson. Come on, man.
Hey,
with another pass rusher we're going to get.
Hey, Sean,
on, man.
you know what? When I first started playing that concept, my eyes were kind of everywhere because partly due to some of the stuff you were saying right there. But then once you see enough route combinations and different things like that, how they layer them and just try to use other people as eye candy to get you to quit one way or the other, or give up leverage here or there. Now after a while, you start to not even look. I don't even know how to really describe this, but I'm not really looking. I'm like, if you could look through my eyes when I'm playing, say, left corner, left boundary.
Okay.
I'm basically, I can see the let's just say a 2-by-1, and the two are on my side.
My side, yeah, your side, yeah.
I can watch them without watching them, and still keep my eyes on the quarterback, see it all.
Yep.
Absolutely, and then get enough depth where you're not giving too much, and you can absolutely see it all. You can see the timing of the play, the route progressions, all that stuff play out, and know what depth to get. I watched Jaylon get like that the whole entire year.
Yeah, season. Yep. Yes, sir, Bob.
Well, that's a testament to his film study. The kid spends consummate time studying film, and then he locked in with Stevenson, and now Stevenson is picking up those same habits, and that's the thing, and that's, you know what? Let's be honest. That's also a testament to the coaching on that side of the ball, man. Making sure that these guys are watching film, going over different concepts, making sure that they're fundamentally sound in their fundamentals, so they know exactly where to be and what keys to read, so on and so forth. So, again, hats off to Poles, hats off to my man Jaylon. I'm so happy that Jaylon got that bag, man. You have no idea. But now what that really does is it frees Poles up now to really focus on what's coming up next week, which is the actual time that you can really start signing free agents, and who's going to be the next one, who's going to be that next person to get that bag, man. And I'm hoping that Mr. Hunter himself.
Wow.
Jason got a good comment right there. I think you're right, Jason. I think Dexter is going to be not unlocked, unleashed. I think he's going to be unleashed because
I've been
he
saying
came
that, yeah.
along for toward the end of the year. He came along well. I asked him in the locker room after that, and he's just a humble kid. He's like, well, I asked, what was it? I said, how confident are you? He's like, well, I'm pretty confident. I've been doing stuff. I've been working, and I'm not getting overconfident, but I'm happy and comfortable with where I'm at. I'm like, yeah, dog. I think that's good stuff. That's good stuff. He's going to be unleashed.
I remember looking at some kids. I remember looking at some mic'd up, Jaylon Johnson on the sidelines, and I remember Flus and Poles at the pressers talking about how much of a leader Jaylon has become. I can see it, man. I watched Jaylon over the last few years, man, and he's come up quite a long way. Jaylon was a little snobbish, standoffish, and I mean at the podium and with people.
He had a little sippy with me, bro. He got a little sippy with me one time.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
You know what? It was we were in the locker room, and you just go up to different players and stuff like that, and you just walk up to them, and I said, hey, Jaylon, you mind if I ask you a couple questions? He goes, I'm dressing. I felt like saying, well, no shit, Sherlock. I see you dressing. Just say, hey, give me a minute. Hey, give me a sec. Come back. Bet, no problem. I'm dressing. I was like, homie, all right, dog, chill. I was like, all right, cool, man, I got you. And I just left him. I ain't going back goofy, but I wouldn't talk to Montez Sweat. But the way what you say, it's how you say it. He's like, he looked at me like I'm dressing. All right, bro. Like I said, like I got two eyes, bro. I can see you're dressing, but I mean, it wasn't even like he had his shorts on. Like he had everything on, like his pants, his sweater, and he was like had to put on his shoes and he put on his watch and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, chill. Like, all right, bro, whatever.
Hey, you don't mind reiterating? Somebody just got in here. I can't remember whose name it was. Just got in and wanted to know the actual, contract details.
The actual numbers. So Jaylon is looking at a $54 million situation up front. So that's what he's likely to get, or guaranteed that's what he's likely to get to take away. The entire contract is 4 years, $76 million. So that's what the contract looks like if he goes the entire 4 years. Which realistically, unless he really has a drop off in play, I expect. And just to touch on some of the stuff that everybody's been saying here today, if they get that other edge rusher, yeah, it's going to unlock the other two guys in the middle. They're going to start to get that much more destructive. If there's now pressure across the line, whether it's coming from either edge or the middle, they need to clean up. Like they're going to clean up in the secondary. So we saw glimpses of that last year. The only little thing that I have to say slightly negative about it is that Ryan Poles probably should have clued into this and signed this kid a little bit earlier on and saved himself.
Oh yeah, big mistake.
You know what I'm saying? So he challenged the kid and he said, "Hey, listen, we don't believe you. We don't think you can do this. So if you can prove to me you can do this, we'll pay you." I think he should have.
I don't think he minded the outcome of that risk, though.
No, he wouldn't have signed this deal if he didn't. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't have signed the deal if he had sour grapes. But I'm just saying, moving forward for the next guy, like Keith is saying, now Ryan has a little bit of experience doing this, signing a guy that's been playing for him, giving that bag up. And if he believes in his guys moving forward, hopefully he'll have the wherewithal to try to lock them down a little bit earlier and save a couple of bucks, keep a couple more bucks in his jeans. That's just me. Outside of it all, I'm happy, man.
I don't think that's a bad. I don't think that's a bad gamble at all. Again, he's the dude. Like you want me to pay you, I'll pay you, but you got to show out. Period. You know what I mean?
So,
show out.
When I say bad, like when I say it could have been a better deal, I mean after he started to show, he should have came out with a regular bag, right? Like he should have offered.
Well, he did.
Tell him. Keith,
I think he did, and that's how they ended up doing the season, saying, "Hey, go seek a trade." Just to test the market and see what was out there for him. So
yeah, he let him.
So
I think he
trust
should
me,
have done the deal right there. If he did the deal
I'm
right
not gonna
there, we'd be
disagree.
at
I'm not gonna
18 or so,
disagree.
17 and a half, same terms. We're off to the races. But once more, I'm not really mincing hairs here. I'm just saying, hopefully Ryan learned from this experience and can preempt the next guy, right? Like get that
Yeah.
contract done a bit earlier
No,
so you can save a couple of bucks.
no, don't worry about
No?
the money. Don't worry about the money, because you know why? Because once you perform, now you've set the standard for where you need to perform. Because if he's playing kind of okay, he's doing well, okay, even good, and he gets 17 million, what's to stop? He can stay there. But once you've set the standard for when you've shown where you can play, I need that from you all the time. I don't need a really good Jaylon Johnson. I need a great Jaylon Johnson. And really good is great. It's probably better than most of the corners. But I need a great Jaylon Johnson, and you're getting paid accordingly. So yeah, it's a great deal. I'm okay with it. Him not, you want to bet on yourself? Bet on yourself. All right, and I'll open up the purse strings.
Hey fellas, you know what the most interesting thing is to me? This is the most important. I tell people this all the time. I'm a pro player guy. I think locker room. I'm a player. That's my mentality. That's the way I was raised. That's just in my DNA. I think locker room because that's what really sticks out in my spirit. What's going to be interesting is how I seen him, really gravitate towards Eddie Jackson, and Eddie Jackson kind of mentoring him, so that he's in a position. Because with Eddie here, everybody kind of congregated at Bojack's crib, because Bojack was the one that with the money kind of, and they were just kind of used to him. Now, Jaylon is the seniority in the locker room in that, in that department as far as the DBs goes, and I just can't wait to see him take the next steps to really be a leader, put that captain's sticker on his chest, and just really take the next step into bringing these other guys up and start grooming them the right way. And as new guys are onboarded onto the roster, showing them the right way to be pros. That's the stuff I'm looking forward more to almost anything. Of course, it's performance, but that's the kind of stuff I like when guys take to their new roles as leaders. And I kept hearing Flus, kept hearing Poe saying that this guy is really, really taking the role of leadership well, man. That's the kind of stuff I love to hear.
I wanted to touch that a bit.
But also think about the fact that this is like, because he's the leader, okay? Now you have to set the example for these young guys. You got to set the example for Tyreek Stevenson. You got to set the example for Kyler Gordon. You got to set the example for these guys and Jaquan Brisker, because they're looking up to you, and that level of play, they're looking at you saying, okay, you got the bag now. How do you perform now that you got the bag? What's your work ethic now that you got the bag?
Yep.
What's your mentality toward everything? How team oriented? How secondary oriented are you? Is it all about me, or is it all about us? Now that you got the bag, you can chill because you're good. You're set. You got 2-3 generations are set. How do you approach your business? How do you approach our job? And if they see that, if they see him coming to work every day, this was going to happen to everybody else. Like, oh snap, this is how this all pro. This is how this dude got 19 mil a year. I bet I need to contort myself the same way, and hopefully I can get that as well.
So he was kind of forced to do that, right? So like, if anybody clued into what was going on, it was Jaylon Johnson after they drafted all them corners, right? Like there's a bunch of guys breathing down his neck. So it's either you, prove the theory, which is what he wound up doing. B, embrace those youngsters, be that leader, or else they're going to take your job, bro. They're going to take your job. So you better get put all them guys under your wing and sing Bette Midler songs. In any event, that's really what he was forced to do. He had to become that leader, and I'm glad that he has. I'm glad he's embraced it. I strangely don't feel like this is the type of guy who's going to slide now that he's got the bag because of the added pressure. He knows there's still 2 guys underneath him that will take his spot. He could be gone at any time.
What's more than that was heavier on you when you're a leader. My apologies, Keith. When you're a leader and you're thrust, some people are born to do that. Some people are thrust into it and don't really take well to it. Jaylon comes off to me as a born that way guy. And when you feel the pressure of leadership, when you know guys are looking to you for the right way to be, the right way to go, the right kind of person you have to be inside and out, and the way you are on the field and off the field. I got a good, strong feeling and indication he will step up into that with flying colors in his deeds. You know, people talk a whole lot of stuff, but you show who you are in your deeds. And so I just feel good about Jaylon Johnson in that way.
Well, it's funny you say that, Nomad, because I actually caught an interview with him back here, probably around week 12 or 13, I want to say, and just listening to him and speak about the things that's important to him. I don't get I get the sense that this kid is locked in. On top of the fact that he's young enough to where now he's really gonna want to show that he's that dude because, hey man, in a matter of 4 years, and 4 years go quick, I'm up for another contract and I'll still be in my 20s. So, let's just keep it a buck. These cats is trying to, they know, like, Sean says it all the time, not for long. That's what the NFL stands for. So you got to get as much as you can while you can. All things stand what they are and he can stay healthy. You know, I think the guy is going to do some really big things in terms of with that locker room and with that secondary core, man. I think we're going to see a lot of changes coming about with regard to how all those guys approach the game. I think now you'll see where all these guys are on one accord with their film study and everything else. I'm excited about this secondary now, man. I really am, because these guys, man, they're young, they're hungry, they want to prove something, man. And the biggest thing that'll really ignite that whole locker room, and I know this ain't about him. I'm just gonna use the initials. JF1 stays aboard. It's gonna be crazy. That's
Keith,
all I'm gonna say.
let me say this, man, and this is, don't think I'm trying to put the cart before the horse, but I'm a deep thinking. You know what? I
Oh,
think
I know.
I think on a very, very deep level, and I try my best to think what Poles and Flus are thinking, and I think the generated ascension that they had towards the end of the season, they had to have a private meeting with each other and say, you know what, how close do you think we are? And Flus is probably saying to Poles, man, what I saw in that Detroit game, in both those games, in the Cleveland game, and a few of those other games out there, I think we're closer than we may want to give ourselves credit. And
Yeah.
so if I thought, this is just me, if I thought that the Bears were 2-3 years away from doing anything significant, I don't think the Jaylon Johnson signing even happens. I think he's moved on to another city, to a team that he thinks and they think could be a good fit for him, that might actually challenge for something. I think they signed him here because they think they have a chance to do it, and having that person in the
Yes.
locker room.
Yes.
I mean, I
Absolutely.
think that's just my mind, man. My mind goes there when I think about this signing.
No,
They
man. I
they
don't think you're wrong at all, bro. I really don't.
they plan to go in the other direction. They drafted contingency in case things went in the other direction. This is now okay. This is worked out. We're in luxury case scenario now. We have an
Yep.
additional corner that we have on the roster that can fill in and play well. I unfortunately I feel a little bit bad for Terrell Smith because I think he's really talented and he just might not get to see the field as frequently as I think he should to get the reps that he needs. That's the only slightly negative thing that I have to say there. But the fact is, they needed to make sure that if this Jaylon Johnson thing didn't work out, if he didn't prove that theory I just talked about, we're okay to go in the opposite direction. We have a path. Right now, we're in positive territory, guys. And I hope once more, I hope this secondary starts to show out. And I have all the faith in the world that it will, especially if if we get a new young free safety, if we or a or let's just say two caliber safeties. Holy smokes. This is definitely
Yeah,
one of the better secondaries in the league.
Please,
man.
nobody respond to that last part, kids, that said, because that's the last thing I want to bring up. Just respond to where we think the Bears are. Where do Poles and Flus, when they had that conversation, what did they think they are And did that play a role into signing Jaylon?
Yes, it did. Absolutely, it did. You have to believe that it did. They did a full evaluation from the time that they brought Montez Sweat on to the last game, and they saw the progress that they made, and they said, okay, we're ahead of schedule. In all honesty. So with that being said, we actually have the pieces, and now what solidifies that piece? Again, testament to Pose. He knew that Bojack wasn't going to fit because of injuries. So he did him a solid and gave him a heads up so that he can go and do what he needed to do. And that gave him the opportunity to really hone in on getting things done with Jaylon. With that, they realized then, yeah, we're right there. They are right there. I mean, that back seven, and I'm including the linebackers too because we got two hell of a linebackers, man. Adding that free safety, whether it be in the draft or a bridge safety, we there, man. We ready.
This signifies the situation that you're waiting with now. Remember, I said, I'm not sure if it was here or my show on Sports Zone Chicago,
Both.
that if you might have been that the more free agents that you sign or big signings, you're trying to win now. All right, you're not trying to.
Yeah.
You're not trying to say, okay, we'll wait. We'll let a guy develop a year and a half, 2 years, because you're paying big money for what? To let a guy develop? No. All right, you're paying big money because you're ready now. All right, here's another reason. So we go get a big time free agent. Like we get an edge rusher, if we go get Wilkins, if we go get, you know what I mean? We go get something like that, another big one like that. Yeah, then it's you're keeping them because you're trying to win now. No ifs, ands, or buts. And you mean to tell me you're going to have a guy come over here and you're not trying to win now? You want to and tell him we're going to go with a rookie quarterback, regardless of how good he is, and he'll be stepping into a good situation. Let's keep it a buck. All right, I'm pro Justin, but I'm not. I'm also not. I'm not averse to the fact that a rookie quarterback will be stepping into a very good situation with a good offensive line because you're probably going to get another wide receiver. So now you're going to have two receivers. All right, maybe get a second tight end to go with Cole. You have a Super Bowl ready defense. Yeah, that's something that signifies you're trying to win now. And you know what? How do you win now? You win now with the dude who's been leading this dude who literally took one for the team for 3 years, 2.5 years. He took one for the team. Now unleash him. H1M. Unleash him.
Okay, Kev, if you don't mind jumping on the chat real quick, I'm gonna shift. But before we shift, I got to put some icing on this, man, because it definitely signals to something. It's an indirect communication to me, and this is just me in my head and the way I think. It's an indirect communication to the rest of us that they think now is the time, not a couple years down the road, not down the road of developing some new rookie quarterback. I think that's an indirect signal saying we like what we had, we think we can grow on it, and we're going to add to it and build this thing up in the way they should be, which is, to me, the absolute correct thing to do when you only have 5 draft picks. But we'll shift that into neutral and put that to the side, and we're going to jump on this thought right here, because here's what the next part of the conversation with signing Jaylon Johnson means to me. One of those 2 rookie corners, I think, is going to transition. I think you have to, especially if it's Tyreek Stevenson, if it's Terrell Smith, either one. You can't. It's probably more unlikely going to be Terrell Smith. He's good enough to be on the field, but if Jaylon stays and you got Tyreek on the other side, you got to find a reason. You got to find a way to get that kid on the field. He's proven he can play. I don't think it's that. I can tell you for certain because I played both positions. It's not that much of a change for a safety. The only thing is it's about leverage and angles playing safety. And that's the main thing he has to understand is getting distance, leverage, and taking the right angles when coming downhill or when chasing across the field at angles. Because if you don't, you'll get made to look bad pretty quick. I love his size. I love his just everything he brings to the table. The cornerback's mindset at a safety, that's a huge advantage. That's a huge advantage. The responsibility is a whole lot less. All you have to do is remember you are the cap. You are the cap of the defense. You can't get lifted off, right? That's the main thing he has to remember. And he'll start seeing everything pretty clearly, learning not to have a quarterback bait you with one side or the other with his eyes. But I think Terrell Smith has got to be the guy if they're looking to transition one of those guys to safety. And I think he can do it, man. I don't see any reason why he can't. I would just love to see that happen for him. I think he needs to play.
I'm
switch
okay with
over.
that. I'm okay with that, but I still get a free agent and a one because I'd hate to put all my eggs in one basket with him. So say you move him up and you get a free agent and one of the corners goes down. So now you're weakening two positions because he's I still think you get him if you're going to use them, get a bridge free safety and also draft one and rotate, man. You know how it is. And you've done it in college, man. You get guys to rotate. You got this series, you got that series, and then Jaylon Johnson got hurt. All right, Tyreek Stevenson got hurt. All right, so there's going to be plenty of time for him and him learning a lesson and him getting picked on last year a lot, just like Tyreek Stevenson is going to help him this year. So when Tyreek Stevenson goes down or Jaylon Johnson goes down, you have no problem sticking him in at left corner, right corner, doesn't even wherever. Doesn't matter. I'm okay with that, bro. I just think I also think you still need to go get a bridge, and also a draft one who can develop.
Adding to the depth as well as just making sure that we got all angles covered with regard to that. Especially now with teams, running more packages where you gotta go in more dime and nickel packages. So just having those guys that you can interchange depending on the situation, I don't see how it will hurt at all, man. But I'm with you, Sean. I still will feel a lot more comfortable, even if you were to try to transition him into that role. Go out and get that veteran free safety for 2 years. Let him be that bridge guy to just really make sure that he understands that role and how to really play that role. And they can switch out from time to time. So I'm with you on that one, Sean. Definitely.
I like that, and that as much as I enjoy the free agents, sorry, the free safety class this year. Like I like the safeties available in this draft. It might be better to get that veteran guy at a decent dollar price tag, whatever that is, somewhere again south of the 12 that they had slated for Eddie Jackson on a 2-year, just like you're saying. Place him in that role. Allow either Stevenson or Smith to grow into the role behind him.
Or both.
Right? Or both. And then you can still go out and get a safety next draft, next year, or the year after, because you've created a stopgap. You have depth at the position. You don't really have to focus on safety at all. It would be an interesting move for them to make.
But it also gives Terrell longevity because of his flexibility. Yeah. So you go get a young guy to develop, all right, behind a bridge veteran, all right, 3-year deal for the veteran, cut him after 2, all right. Then the youngster goes in, but also have Terrell Smith in there as well. All right, have him ready, get him a couple reps, get him. And we talked about corners are going to go out, all right, and so he'll have versatility, and he can play, and trust me, that will keep him in the league for 6-8 years, if not more. If you can play both positions, man, that makes you very, very valuable, especially in that secondary. And if you can play both positions well, man.
I like what Mike Davidson just said up there because I do remember that slightly. I do remember hearing about him taking reps. I didn't actually see it, but I heard about him taking some reps talking about Terrell Smith.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
Flus likes him, man. Flus is real high on Terrell Smith.
He loves him. He loves him, man. Smitty's a baller, man. The more and more you watch him, the more and more you like. He got used up a little bit in that Green Bay game and kind of exposed his youth and just not having enough snaps.
It happens,
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't get anywhere near the amount of snaps that Tyreek Stevenson got. And Tyreek Stevenson got better for a reason because he got those snaps. He did not. And so his curve is going to start shortening. I mean, whether he plays corner or safety, he's going to be a lot more confident football player come this time next year. I can promise you that. But that's about it, man. We gotta. I can go on and do a whole nother hour show, man. To be honest with you, because I love talking about the stuff anyway. But Let's go around the horn real quick, man. Just give some final thoughts and some pleasantries.
Hey, y'all. No maniacs. What's cracking? We got ourselves a lockdown corner locked down for the next 4 years. That's what it's about. Jaylon Johnson, welcome back, Carter. So stoked to see what you do this season by way of secondary. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for that edge rusher, pin to drop. Once that drops, holy smokes, we're gonna see some serious things on this defense.
Oh,
that's where I'm at.
Wait, hold on, kids. I did promise.
Yeah,
I did promise them something. We were going to talk about Josh Jacobs.
Okay, we can do that before we go. All right.
So we got let's do that for about 10 minutes or so, man.
Right.
If you don't mind grabbing the chat, kids.
I got you.
I did promise to talk about him, and I love talking about this subject. I'm going to tell you why. Because I was at the bar room about this time last year, and I was going on and on and on about him being the perfect complement to what we do. Why? I think Josh Jacobs is one of the 4 best backs in the league, and I can name them for you. Him, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, and probably Aaron Jones. Probably the best backs in the NFL. You can rank them any way you want to, but I think they are the cream of the crop. Why do I think this is a good signing, and why do I think this is, if there's any truth to it, is prone to happen? Why? One reason. I watched a couple of games against Indianapolis when he was when Flus was with Indianapolis. And let me tell you something, man, that dude, I watched that dude take it to him down after down and absolutely shut the stadium down, quiet them, and just took their air out of the building. And I watched Flus on the sidelines look at that like disheveled. He's got the right defenses, Carl. This dude is just too good. And when you need to close a game out and you can turn around and hand it to a guy like that, he sets the tone. He puts your offense over the top. And so why do I think this is going to work if they do that? You're talking about Justin Fields. You're talking about Josh Jacobs behind him. You're talking about you got to listen to the coach and you got to listen to the GM. They want to be a ground ball control team. They are not going to be that RPO standing back there like Caleb Williams was doing in college. Man, we're not that. Get under the center and hand the ball off and control the game. And if anybody on this panel or anybody in this chat can straight up tell me that they didn't see our running game, our running backs as a shortcoming on the offense, I can argue with you all day and all night about that. I think we have some pretty decent running backs. But we don't have a Josh Jacobs. We do not. We do not have a Josh Jacobs. And if you're going to market yourself in Chicago as the ground and pound team that we just beat you senseless on the ground, you got to get the right back. And they know that is the right back. And so is there any truth to it? I know J Mac ain't going to sit there and put his reputation on the line and get on a podcast and say that and not mean what he said. He said they got the same agent. They got mutual interest between each other, and I know he just didn't pull that out of his behind. And so you guys can go ahead and touch that if you want.
It's not a source. It's not a hypothetical source. He literally told you who the source was.
He did.
Right? He told you, he's like, I'm not hiding behind my source. No, his agent is my agent. So we talked about it, and this is where I'm getting it from. Period. End of story. Now, whether you believe him or not, that's on you. Whether you believe he had that conversation, that's on you. But when people talk about, man, what about everyone got their sources? He just told you who his source was. And you're going to have some people who still choose to not believe him. Okay, that's you. It's a free country. Go ahead. But people are always going to move the goalpost. People are always going to move the goalpost if it doesn't fit their agenda. Now, Sanders, I agree. I'll put it this way. I see your point. Pay big money for a running back. Okay, but if it's a special running back, you make exceptions. If it's a special wide receiver, you make exceptions. If it's a special offensive lineman, you make exceptions. If it's a special defensive lineman, you make exceptions. You make exceptions and this is why you look at and you have to tip your hat to Poles, because he's been very frugal with everybody. Because if there is a situation where there's a special player that you need to go get and overpay, you have the ability to do that. And that's what Poles has done. He's kept everything pretty low, nothing too crazy except the Montez Sweat. But damn, he earned every penny of that joker. Okay. He has the finance, he has the resources to do it if you need it, that special player and here's why. And here's another thing that you non-football, not you, but non-football people don't get. We didn't run a lot of zone last year. Now I think Khalil Herbert is a phenomenal outside zone runner. We ran a lot of power scheme.
Mhm.
Josh Jacobs coming downhill on power scheme is a whole different story. If we're running zone, Khalil Herbert all day. I love Khalil Herbert in outside zone. I love it.
Me too.
But not necessarily in the power game. All right, you get a running back like Josh Jacobs. You want to run downhill with a fullback, with an offensive lineman who reports is eligible. Yeah, give me that type of joker right there. That's one of the reasons why I think that Khalil Herbert didn't have as good a year because they stopped running outside zone. That's his thing. That's
100%.
You need somebody that's going to instill some fear, man, in the defenses, man. And truthfully honest, man, the defenses did not fear our backfield like they should have, man. And it's time, So I would not be against adding him to that backfield, bro. I mean, honestly. And the good thing is too, he's a solid catcher out of the backfield.
Yeah.
So being able to use him as a weapon that way as well. Once again, just puts it puts the defenses on their heels a little bit, man, and they like, oh, now what's happening, and then you couple that with Roshan Johnson, a guy that can learn by running behind him, and then you throw Herbert in the mix. Now you have a defensive backfield. I mean, a running backfield that is just scared the bejesus out of you. Period. That's all. I'm just gonna. That's a new word, bejesus. But yeah. I think adding Jacobs more so than Saquon for me. I prefer Jacobs over Saquon, but either one of those guys. But since we're talking about Jacobs, yeah, man, I would love to see him in some blue and orange.
Let me say.
I'll give you Saquon, but go ahead.
How about I do this? How about I do this, kids? If you don't mind, man, I'll point out some details about Josh Jacobs. I've done extensive homework on that guy.
Okay, hold on. Before you do, I just wanted to touch on the fact that Dan and Aldo referenced you yesterday on their show or this week on their show, specifically talking about the Josh Jacobs topic.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Dan had to stop. Dan had to stop and say, like, Nomad really felt that he would be great in blue and orange. He really thought that he would be a guy. So I just wanted to sort of, you did bring them up a little bit earlier on. I just wanted to sort of bring it back up to you to let you know that they also felt the same way about Josh Jacobs potentially becoming a Bear too.
Oh, that's funny, man, because I absolutely, if you don't mind grabbing the chat, kid, that's funny because I used to hammer that they be talking about, should we make a move in free agency for a running back? And I kept telling them, if the move needs to be made, it's got to be Josh Jacobs. I've seen that dude put it on Flus one too many times. And I'm telling you, Flus wants that dude on his side. And I don't blame him. If you're going to be the team that you say you want to be, you need an elite running back. Look what Christian McCaffrey did for the 49ers. Look what he did for them. And so with that being said, I'm going to tell you something that I know about Josh Jacobs. Tell you where he's elite. Vision. Foot quickness. He's I wouldn't say he's got elite speed because he doesn't. But his contact balance and his hands are amazing. You hear me? Foot quickness, contact balance, hands. I mean, some of the best stuff I've ever seen in a running back. I mean, he's Hall of Fame special as far as I'm concerned. If he continues on the path that he's on, he's Hall of Fame special to me. I thought he was that when he came out of Alabama. Everybody got wild about who was it that came out before him. Was it Derrick Henry or somebody? And he just didn't get as many touches as the guy in front of him. He was a backup coming out of Alabama. Yeah. And I kept telling people around me, this is the best back in the draft. And it's not even close. I thought he was when he came out. To me, he's proven that he was. If he comes to Chicago, you think I'm giddy now, I'm going to get real giddy. They keep Justin Fields, put Josh Jacobs behind him, put a couple weapons around him, get a few pieces for that defense, tune up that offensive line a little bit. I'm telling you, we're gonna be cooking in chicken grease. I'm telling you, hot chicken grease. Just telling you that right now. Those things line up. We got something cooking, man.
I'm in full agreement here. And to be honest with you, I'm in agreement with a couple of other running backs too, but Jacobs embodies it all. So we'll stick with Jacobs. I do actually want to touch good old Brad Holmes in the chat. Brad Holmes been going on about how we're going on about running backs and how we're hypocrites and it's contradictory because we disrespected the idea of them drafting one and trading up to draft one. And again, I'm going to say some interesting stuff here, Brad. I was actually with you outside of the fact that you traded up. I wanted Jahmyr Gibbs all day long last year. I was hoping we would get him somewhere in the second, maybe even the third. I would have done that. I wouldn't have traded up to get him, though. That's just me. Y'all did. He's, in my opinion, a blue chipper on your squad. Good on you for getting him. I think he proved his worth last season. Even then, still wouldn't have I still wouldn't have traded up into the first round to go and scoop a running back. The position, unfortunately, has been devalued, which just simply means you can get him a little bit later. With that devaluation, we might be able to get Josh Jacobs at a relatively cost-effective case scenario, especially if we're getting him for a couple of years. Because traditionally, his issue is the Raiders haven't wanted to sign him long-term under any capacity. He's not really a guy who gets hurt frequently. So it's just based on the fact that it's a devalued position. If you can get him for 3 years, maybe even 4 years at $8 million, I ain't complaining. I might be way off with that number.
I'm good with that. I think you're front loaded though.
Yeah.
I think you're front loaded because next year when the cap jumps up, and if you want to put more money next year in the second year in 2025, you can do that. All right. The cap's projection is going to be about 280 plus. It's 255 now.
35 mil.
So you give him the lump sum, give him a nice signing bonus, but you're going to get the lump of your money next year and then tail off year 3 or 4 if you give him that type of deal. That gives you more. That gives you money. 2 signed fields to an extension. Okay, to still make an impact and to sign the free agents that we're getting, because once we make that trade as the number 1 pick, we might, depending on how it goes, let's keep it a buck, man. We might have 3 first-round picks next year. We could have 3 first-round picks next year. Okay, if the Bears trade 1 to 2, 1 to 5, and then trade that 9 pick again, like, okay, we'll just give you we'll swap picks with you, but we'll give you someone else's first. There's a good shot the Bears have 3 first-round picks next year. So I'm okay with the running back at that price, especially him at that price, $8 million. And I don't know, maybe $9 million, but okay. I don't,
Hey guys, quick note: Jaylon's getting $28 million in the first year of his deal.
Okay,
draft a running back. Don't spend money on one.
We're gonna get ready. We're getting ready to wrap this up, man, because I got to get ready to get out of here, man. Let's just start all over with going around the horn, kids, and give out some pleasantries before we bounce.
Yo, what's up, No Maniacs? Thanks for coming back for show number 2. Breaking news: Jaylon Johnson's been locked down. We got ourselves a lockdown cornerback. I'm gonna shout out a couple people. I'm laughing here because Iron Save. You're here earlier today. I'm glad to have you back. Brad, your spelling represents Detroit well. It was kind of funny because I made a spelling shot at Don Burr earlier on, and then Brad said he ain't Don Burr. So we'll leave it all out there on the table for that. You know what I'm saying? We'll just leave it right there. Van Washington, Logan Pritchard, James Hunter, Flex Diggs, Notorious TBG, and Brad Holmes himself. Thanks for showing up in the grasp. Ip Mante. Yo, that's the homie Ip Mante. Don't mess with him. We'll whoop you. He might whoop you. Anyhow, yo, Bellissimo, tell him where to go sometimes. I could see you in there. Just keep it clean, all right, brother? The rest of y'all, thanks for coming out. Bear down. We're getting closer. Keith?
Hey, everybody, thanks for chiming in again for show number 2. We do appreciate it. To my man up in the D, my man Van Washington. That's my boy. That's my homie. That's my brother. My man, you right. We're gonna shut them up and turn them into kittens. Once again, what is Honolulu Blue? I'm just trying to, how does that relate to Detroit? But anyway, I digress. To my panel, as always, as when we get a chance to chop it up and talk Bear football, I love it, man. I love it. To Jaylon Johnson, my man, you got that bag, boy. You got that bag, man. Happy for you, my brother. Pose, thank you for showing that you're a man to your word, man. Thank you so much. Nomad, Sean, kids, Chris in the back. As always, brothers. Peace and love, fellas. Appreciate y'all.
Hey guys, thanks for jumping on twice today. Twice. We had to jump on with this breaking news. I'm really excited. Sports owners, all right, No Maniacs Unite. I appreciate we all appreciate the love and support. All right, this was great. Make sure you go follow Sports Zone Chicago's YouTube page, our Facebook page, our Roku channel, our mobile app. Make sure you download that and check us out there as well. And the voice of rest in peace, Tommy with no job. Jaylon Johnson, you got that bag, dog.
hey, again, man. Hey, congratulations to Jaylon, man. You earned every dime, man. I love to see the turnaround. I love to see the uptick in your game, man. Congratulations to you, bro. Do something good for yourself, your family. Go buy your mom something special. Do something that you always said that you wanted to do for somebody in your family, whether your mom. Go ahead, Keith.
One thing, man. Think about this. They probably had this deal done yesterday. But because it was Justin's birthday, they didn't want to take the shine away from Justin. So big ups to Pose making the day after Justin's birthday extra special for us Bears fans. Do appreciate it.
If that was the case, that was nice on him. Good on him, man, if that was the case. But you know what, man? Hey, you guys, anybody in this chat that didn't hit the like button, I'm going to be real pissed off at you. Matter of fact, you're dead to me because we out here working hard. We out here working hard, getting you two podcasts
like that, man.
back to back, man. If you didn't hit that subscribe button and you're new to this channel and can't feel the love inside of here, you're dead to me.
He didn't mean that, y'all.
You're dead to me.
He didn't mean that.
You're dead to me.
He didn't mean that, y'all. He don't mean that, y'all.
I really didn't. But love you guys, man. Appreciate you guys coming to the show. And as always, man, I can't get enough of the appreciation and the return that you guys give us. See it every day in the comment section. Absolutely love it. Make sure you subscribe to Nomad Network and make sure you subscribe to Sports Zone Chicago. Show us both the same love and we would appreciate it. And so with that being said, I would like to leave you guys with these famous words. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
To the go.
Peace,
Let's
y'all.
go. Bear down.
Lock down. Boom.